creating a reality that projects peace, love, and harmony. Welcome to the channel, Amazing Souls. I'm glad you can tune in. So, there's so much negative news in life right now, but there are many ways to just tune it out. And the ways to tune it out is honestly to project and create our own reality, the reality that we want. And so I'm gonna give you a couple personal examples on how I was able to find peace and harmony and start to project peace, love. So let's dig in. Let's have a beautiful conversation. You know, this I want to talk about things that you can just dig in deep. I would like people to go within themselves and ask deep questions, and at some point let's chat, let's elaborate. So how do we project or create a reality that projects peace, love, and harmony? Well, it all starts with the soul. I enjoy talking about the soul because as I talk about the soul, I have to let others know that we are not this body, but just like we're, I was gonna use an anime for example, Gundam Wing, if anybody knows, or anything that has to do with robots and humans being within robots. So you know when a human operates a robot, a giant robot, and that human controls and motions the robot, the soul, it sits within the pineal gland and it controls the body. It's not the brain. Yes, the pineal gland is within the brain, but the soul projects thoughts. All thoughts become things. All thoughts. My ducks and chickens are hungry. After this, I gotta go feed them and do a little bit of harvesting. But, and when thoughts become things, they become physical things a lot of the times. They can become emotional. There are many levels to that. An emotional and thought process are of the fourth dimension. The soul resides on the fifth dimension and higher, depending on your level of consciousness. So let's start with waking up in the morning. I hope you got some beautiful sleep and slept well, and I hope your thoughts are beautiful of what the day are gonna be. So imagine you waking up and you have these beautiful thoughts. The soul is now collecting and producing thoughts. Many thoughts are just floating around in the fourth dimension. And you just know you want to have a peaceful day. You want things in your life to run smooth. And we're not talking about the if they don't run smooth. We're talking about creating a beautiful, positive, peaceful, and harmonious reality. So you're thinking about, oh, I'm going to go in the garden today and I'm gonna call my mom and I'm gonna go drop her off some fruits, vegetables, some eggs, fill up her fridge, make sure she has a meal. That within itself, that thought is not yet an action, but you're already planning on doing it. So positive energy is now being projected into the environment. We can use the garden. We can use for those who have to go to work every day. I'm going to go into work and tell everyone how amazing they are. I'm going to go into work telling everyone how I'm thankful to be around them, even if you're not. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, that's raising the vibration of an environment. So once we begin to raise the vibration of the environment through the thought, the soul collecting thoughts and those thoughts becoming things, we begin to create peace. We begin to love things in which we didn't understand, or things we would consider hate. But a lot of things we consider hate or a lot of dislikes are just things we don't understand. And then once you have a brighter and bigger understanding of many things, you often begin to love it because you understand it's a projection of you and how you see it. Now you see how we starting to create a beautiful, peaceful, loving, and harmonious reality. It starts with waking up. It starts with self-care. So within, so without. So imagine, all right, let's say we having a negative thought. We have the ability to turn that thought around to a positive. There's a positive to every negative, and yes, there's a negative to every positive. And sometimes you need a negative to create a positive. That's energy. And that's how I began to simplify my reality by understanding negative and positive. Many people might see it as ones and zeros in a matrix. They create something. You need a certain amount of positive energy and a certain amount of negative energy to create mass. Not even mass. It can be a force of energy, plasma, the soul. The soul absorbing and radiating positive energy. It might be some negative, but if it's mostly positive, your reality will begin to be as you so see it. Let's move to personal examples. About 4.5 years ago, when I was living in Florida, I had a huge ego, but that's when I really got into my enlightenment. I was bodybuilding and so forth, going to the gym, but at the same time, I was conflicted. I was in between gaining my soul and controlling my ego, and my ego just being on the loose. At the same time, I was homeless. My soul was telling me that I wanted to have a sanctuary, connect human and nature once again. But my ego was like, bodybuild, be seen. Be seen. For what though? But now that I put my ego, I wouldn't even say my ego is gone. We're integrated. It's integrated to the soul because I now understand that the ego is the costume needed to be here. The personality and so forth needed to interact with my environment. So now that I understand my ego, I can create a reality in which is balanced. But going back to when I was a bodybuilder, I was also homeless, and I remember writing in my notebook to one day buy land, create my sanctuary, and to reconnect humanity back with nature and consciousness. That was 4.5 years ago. And I'm so appreciative. I was homeless. I had nothing. And now I have acreage for my children who came after I was homeless. And I plan on leaving something behind for them. I don't really want to pursue nothing else of material other than making sure my children are at peace, at ease, have nothing too much to worry about. Yes, I believe they should have their trials and their tribulations and don't have it too easy in life. But just as nature is my teacher, my guru, it can be theirs too. And with nature, nature comes with hardships. There's been tick issues. Had a couple on me the other day. They didn't bite me, but I handled it. And without getting upset, I approached the situation with understanding, which brought me a lot more peace. Last year, I got bit by a tick. It kept me from going outside for 6 months. I was scared. But now through understanding that everything is a creation of the universe or God, and I must accept and adapt, it brought me peace. Acceptance brings a lot of peace. Adapting brings a lot of peace. Acceptance, love, acceptance and love brings a lot of harmony within itself. Adapting just amplifies that. Because once you adapt, you just in a flow state a lot of the times, which means you're in harmony. But being in harmony can also be negative. It's people that thrive in negative environments, negative energy. The things we absorb, take in, read, listen to, the music, that in itself are frequencies in which we thrive if it's part of our habit, our program. We program our own self. We program ourselves, good or bad, negative energy, positive energy. You gonna thrive in what you feel. But like I said, today is a video on how can we project a reality of peace, love, and harmony. Understanding that negative energy flows like all waves in the ocean. It'll bring you harmony. You have to, just like in Star Wars, you have the dark side, you have the light. But those who really know, they're the great Jedi. You need balance in the universe. Look at the balance within yourself. Nobody is perfect. Last year was one of my worst years, I would say. I was lost. Couldn't really find myself. I felt disconnected from my soul, from who I really was, my purpose. But there is always a way back. Always a way back. It's just coming back to the moment. The moment is key. The moment is always vital. Because every moment is a chance to turn everything around. Life. Life was negative for you 2 seconds ago. Guess what? With the right state of mind and energy, that 2 seconds ago can turn to a life-changing positive at any moment. Also, we have to protect that peace, love, and harmony. I know we love our friends, family, and so forth, but some people you just gotta let go, or you gotta tell them, like, this is where I'm trying to get to. And I would like for you to respect that, and through you possibly respecting that takes understanding. And if you're not trying to understand where I'm trying to go and why I'm trying to get there, that's kind of selfish, and I don't think maybe our energies should interact. Remember, we all have this gravitational field around us, like the planet. We're gonna attract what we want, the energy that we want. But sometimes if you're projecting negative energy but wanting something positive, you're gonna attract negative. We create our reality. When I started this YouTube months ago, it was still winter. Nothing was really green, and now so much green, so much food. Been collecting so much food, and I'm thankful. Been giving so much away. Filling the tummies of others, nourishing others. That brings me so much peace. But not everyone is like me, but there are different ways of serving others. Simply telling somebody to have a beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you get a good night's rest. Make sure you take care of yourself today. It's as simple as that. And then if your consciousness is aware enough to understand that, and you can go reflect before going to sleep, it'll make you feel real good. Oh, I told this person to have a beautiful day. And that person might tell somebody else to have a beautiful day. And so on. It's this 1+1 thing I got from an old mentor. equals infinity, because 1 is always going to keep adding. We're not talking about math class, 1 plus 1 equals 2. We're talking about the metaphysical, the soul, the consciousness, because we're all united. So with that being said, everyone, have a beautiful day. I'm Astro Tiger. I'll catch y'all on the next video.